हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम टू द फ्लाइंग फुलबैक्स पॉडकास्ट। आज हम एल क्लासिको का रिव्यू करने वाले हैं। सो बिफोर वी गेट इनटू द एक्चुअल मैच एंड व्हाट हैपेंड इन द मैच, लेट्स टेक अ लुक एट वेयर द टू टीम्स वर इन द टेबल बिफोर द गेम स्टार्टेड.
Before the game started, it was quite, poised correctly for Barca to take over the lead in the league. Barca were at 65 points, Real was 63. So after the match, as you know, Real won it. They got to 66, which now they are quite a bit of a lead. But Barca should have won that match considering how good they were playing in the second half and how many chances they had. But they, fluffed it. But anyway, coming back to the points, first we look at the lineups. It was a quite an interesting selection by Zinedine Zidane, considering how good vein of form Asensio is in right now. He was dropped for the match, and Valverde, who is not quite regular as you might think he was like last season, uh, he was in the lineup and quite semi right wing, right mid role to give an extra cover to Lucas Vasquez against Barca attack. So he was included in the lineup. The midfield was quite as usual for what do we say, Real Madrid, and same lineup for Barca also. So when the match started, it was quite through and through from one end to another. There was no any change in tactics or plan. It was the same Barca we are seeing since the starting of this year, and the same Real we are seeing since starting of this year. What do you think, Tejame?
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, yeah, when I looked at the lineups, I was quite surprised क्योंकि Asensio बहुत time में पहली बार he has caught a good patch of form. He started performing well. He started scoring regularly. So I was definitely surprised to see him dropped. I was also surprised to see Gerard Piqué not in the starting 11. And in his place, I mean, you had the three centre backs who were Longley, uh, Mingueza, and whole third one,
The
Ronald
other center back,
Araujo. Yeah.
yeah, the guy you can't name.
Ronald Araujo, yeah. So I was surprised to see PK dropped, but as you said, Baki, it was all pretty standard, and I was expecting a good match going into it. And there were a few interesting tactical uh, plays going on, especially from Real Madrid side. What did you make of the one interesting outball which I saw was a lot of the times Cruz was playing a long pass through to Vinicius, especially in the first half, and Vinicius got behind the Barca defense I think two or three times very easily in the first half.
See, जैसे कि हमने ये टैक्टिक्स जो है, ये जब इसने क्रूज टू विनीसियस जो थ्रू बॉल चल रहा है आजकल, which clearly is outplaying every team Real is facing right now. ये सेम टैक्टिक लिवरपूल के अगेंस्ट भी यूज की थी, एंड द सेम दे आर यूजिंग इट अगेंस्ट बारसा राइट नाउ. उसमें वो कर क्या रहे हैं, दे आर इनवाइटिंग प्रेशर. Real is inviting pressure, and you know that there are two midfielders in the world, Modric and Kroos. You can't press because they will find a way to counter it. So they are inviting pressure. कहीं भी थोड़ा सा भी डेंजर बनता है रियाल के लिए, तो कैसेमिरो फाउल कर देता है, टैक्टिकल फाउल, या फिर क्लियर कर देता है. Tactical foul is the important part of Casemiro's game right now, as we saw in the 90 minute. So Cruz जानबूझ के वो थ्रू बॉल्स डाल रहा है, and that through balls are so good right now that they are crossing the entire defense. And हमें पता ही है कि विनीसियस के पास फिनिशिंग लैक करता है, बट वो जो व्हाट डू यू से, जो पेस है, जो एक्सेलरेशन है, एक दो सेकंड के अंदर एकदम से पूरी लाइन क्रॉस कर जाने, वो उसको ड्रामेटिकली यूज किया जा रहा है. तो वो थ्रू बॉल्स डाल के विनीसियस रन बना रहा है. इट वाज अनदर अनलकी डे, you can say, for Vinicius, who was not able to score, but the chances create किए थे. I think जो एक चांस था विनीसियस के बाद, जिसपे उसको should have done a better final pass, that he should have gone for the goal, in my opinion. He played it through to Benzema, and clearly Mingueza रास्ते में आ चुका था, तो it was never going to happen anything. So that two three chances like that, I think कि अगर विनीसियस ने better लिए होते, तो I think output और better रहा होता रियल के लिए.
Yeah, I remember what you're talking about, yaar. I was shouting at my screen कि ये तूने क्या किया? Why didn't you take a shot, Vinicius? I remember exactly what you're talking about. Anyway, let's move on to the goals. And the first goal from Benzema, what a goal! I mean, the I think the whole build-up play was fantastic from Valverde, and a great cross from Vasquez, and a fantastic back heel from Benzema.
Yeah, see, Benzema's, it's more about, I think, see, we all know skills were always there in Benzema. When he was youngster at Leon, when he came through at Real Madrid, skills were there. I think the confidence or, just the mood kind of thing it was lacking. Because right now, to even think about taking that kind of backheel shot, and it's not like he was through on goal or backheel was, he was like, I can remember an instance in 2016 Euros. Ronaldo did the same backheel kind of goal, but the difference was Ronaldo was empty in front of net and he was in front of the net. It's not like Benzema was ahead of the net. So if he had taken a normal backheel, it had gone out wide. He timed it and the angle was so perfect and precise that there was a very small gap between the pole and Ter Stegen, and the final touch was so precise that the ball went through it. So I think it's one of the best El Clasico of recent times by a mile, and people are not talking enough about it because the final precision on that is just out of the world. And I think it's all because of the confidence Benzema is in right now, that he has a confidence that he can't do anything wrong right now. Because as you remember in 2018, that dude was trying everything to score a goal, but he wasn't. Right now he's just touching the ball inside the box and it's going for a goal. So I think he just hit that purple patch right now where you can't stop him whatever you do.
Actually, there's one more thing I want to say about the goal, which is that I think the defending should have been a bit better. I'm not sure. I think it was Araujo, or I'm not sure if it was Araujo or Mingueza who was close to Benzema. But I think the defender should have stayed a bit more tight to Benzema because he allowed Benzema to get ahead of him, and then to allow the space for a backheel like that. I'm not sure if PK would have allowed that if he was starting.
Agreed, but considering what we are saying from PK nowadays, I don't think PK would have reached to Benzema by the time goal was happening. So
Yeah.
that's also another aspect to look at.
But
So
again,
moving on,
taking nothing away from the goal, it was a great goal.
yeah. So moving on to the second goal, the Toni Kroos free kick. First, Vinicius went down outside, just outside the box. It could another day it could have been tight called for penalty also. He was
Yeah,
just
yeah,
outside the box,
yeah.
and the
Go ahead.
and the free kick by Toni Kroos, I am not going to say it was excellent, but it was effective.
Yeah, I mean, it got a goal, so obviously it was effective. I think it was unfortunate that Jordi Alba couldn't clear the ball off the line. He very specifically moved to the line for that very purpose, but at the end he couldn't stop it. Overall, it was I'm not. I think it was nothing special in terms of the free kick, but
Yeah,
fortunate for Madrid that it went in.
yeah. So I think that 2-0 lead was quite in good advantage for Madrid to
Yeah.
go into the second half.
And it was
And
very
what do
well
you,
deserved. It was very well deserved, in my opinion. Madrid
yeah,
were playing quite well, and Barca
yeah.
created a few chances, although Dembele was not able to make the most of them. I think Barca did play well, but Madrid deserved to be in the lead going into the break.
Yeah. What do you make out of the third goal?
So the
The
third goal
Barca
was
scored.
interesting. I mean, I feel that it was one of those goals which you kind of saw coming. क्योंकि यार प्रेशर बिल्डअप हो रहा था काफी टाइम से हाफ टाइम के बाद बारसा वर प्लेइंग वेल एंड it was it was bound to come in my opinion. Real Madrid were, as you said, even in the first half, Real Madrid were trying to absorb the pressure and then hit Barca on the counter, and this was coming. I think I saw it coming, and then the goal itself was again nothing really too special because the rain, the ball was moving quite quickly, it fizzed quite quickly, and Mingueza had a decent finish. I mean, you can't expect too much better from a defender. It was a good enough finish, and I think Barca should have made the most of it. They should have gone and grabbed the equalizer. But the goal itself, again, while it was nothing special in itself. It was a pretty expected goal, and Barca should have done better after the goal.
Yeah, and especially in the build-up of that goal, did you saw that Griezmann's dummy when he jumped above in front of Milicia? I think that was quite, sums up his career. That his best performance are without the ball.
That's brutal, man. I wouldn't say it sums up his career, but I would say it sums up his
At
Barca
Barca, at
career.
Barca, at Barca,
Yeah,
at
yeah.
Barca. So yeah, one thing that caught my eye was the substitutions that were made by Madrid. Dude, thinking about it, Odriozola, Marcelo, Isco, and Mariano. Okay, I get that Vasquez got injured, so Odriozola came on. But apart from that, Marcelo, Isco, and Mariano were given 20 minutes in El Clasico. These are the players who don't get sniff of like 2 minutes against matches like Elche. So I don't know what Duran was thinking. Maybe he had the one eye on the Liverpool game, which I think that was the main reason only. And maybe he wanted to give extra rest to like the main players, or he wanted to get these players a game time in front of the tight fixtures are coming in. But that was a huge gamble, which I think on other day would not have paid off.
Yeah, I think that's why we saw a lot of pressure from Barca's side. And actually, Barca were playing quite well. I definitely thought they would get an equalizer. Although that's not to say Madrid couldn't have gotten a third goal. There were plenty of chances for Madrid to get a third goal. But I think the changes were made with the Liverpool game in mind. But at the end of the day, it did not backfire. They could have, but they did not. And um, I I was just as surprised as you when I saw the likes of Mariano coming on, because I know he usually gets 5 minutes at the end of a game, and to see him get a full 20 minutes, especially in El Clasico, was quite surprising.
Yeah, and I was more surprised in the inclusion of Isco, considering that he was brought on instead of Cruz. You're taking off the guy at the like is Cruz at the time when you want to dominate the midfield and you want to control the pace of the game. And at that moment, you're taking off Cruz, literally the best person in the world right now to control the pace. So it was quite a huge decision, and even the commentators were like that it might not work out and it might be a huge gamble. And but kudos to Zidane. I don't think many managers could have taken that kind of risk in a match like that.
Yeah, and let's talk about the Barca substitutions now. I mean, a few interesting substitutions. We saw Griezmann coming on at halftime, and I think what was a better, I mean, another great substitution, although it did not pay off, was the inclusion of the youngster Moriba. He played pretty well in the few minutes that he was on the pitch, and at the end of the game, just before the final whistle, he hit the crossbar. I think he played quite well, and considering this was a very big game, he handled the pressure quite well. This guy seems to be a real talent.
I agree on that. On the Barca substitutions, it was I think the exact same layout like the last El Clasico. Didn't the Real was controlling the game. So Barca literally threw every forward they have on the pitch in the last 20 minutes. They threw on Griezmann, they threw on Bradford and all. So it's for basically, and that was quite logical in my opinion. What really caught my eye was subbing off Vinicius Junior for Marcelo. And see, I understand that if Marcelo is coming on for defensive cover, I agree that. But Marcelo was not really tracking back. He came on, he was staying forward. So if what was Marcelo's, work to do in that match, I was not able to get. If he was on for there for defensive cover, he was not providing that. If when he was doing there for like, going forward, then why a player like Rodrigo was not brought on?
Yeah, I think Marcelo actually had a very good chance near the end of the game to make it three,
Yeah, yeah.
and unfortunately, he was not able to maximize the opportunity. Now, actually, let's move on to a new topic, which is the injury to Lucas Vasquez. Um, it was a pretty bad injury. I mean, the collision between him and the Barca player seemed pretty bad, and then I think now he's out for a few months, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, actually, to be honest, he's out for the season, and many are speculating that he might have played his last Real match,
Oh, okay.
considering his contract is expiring and he has not signed a new contract. So
Yeah,
that might be the last of Vasquez at Real Madrid. But if it was the last of him, then it was quite a match, to be honest, from him, and it was quite a run in for the match also for a player like him who don't really get the applause when their team win, but the team needs a player like him to win.
yeah. I mean, he's a very underrated player. I agree. He isn't one of those flair players. He doesn't score a lot of goals, doesn't
But
provide too
the
many assists, but
utility he provides is unparalleled, kind of.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
But the biggest problem right now is who do you play in Liverpool?
Hmm.
See, Adrizola has not played enough minutes. He has played at most 4 or 5 matches throughout the season, and I don't think Zidane trusts him enough to start against Liverpool. So I am thinking that Zidane might go with Mendy as a right back and Marcelo as a left back,
Wow, okay, that could be interesting.
because I don't think he is trusting him enough because he doesn't really play him unless until both the right backs are out. Because you see now, for since January till now, he was playing a right winger out of position as a right back instead of a backup right back.
Yeah, yeah.
So that kind of gives you the idea how much he trusts him. So I don't think he will play. He might play considering even Valverde is out, and so there will be no proper defensive cover to play. Since you will have to play on the right wing, there's no other option other than that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think that's the only reason Odriozola might play, because we have seen Mendy playing on the right back position, and he really look out of ideas in that position.
So we'll see what happens in the Champions League. But for now, let's come back to La Liga and the red card to Casemiro. I mean, it was a pretty.
I
I
think
don't
it
even know how
was
to
it
describe
was
the red
the
card.
it was summing up his performances. That when he has this great performances, he always get us ending up with a card. What surprised me that he got a second yellow also, which he rarely gets.
Yeah, it was a pretty deserved second yellow. That was I don't think that's
No doubts about
doubtful.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but what does this mean for the title race? And you know what? About the title race, we just saw Atletico drop points to Real Betis last night.
yeah.
So
I saw that match, and as a quite footnote, after the in the first 10 minutes, I saw the match. Atletico scored a goal also, and I saw things that Felix was making some moves. Correa was passing in there, and it was looking like things are happening for Atletico. Okay, they are scored in the first 5 minutes, and things are happening. Atletico might dominate this match, and they might convincingly win this. And if they win this against a team like Betis, who's a good top six, top seven kind of team, without Luis Suarez, that would be real booster for their hopes. But after that 10-minute period, the amount the style they were outplayed by Betis, it was quite underwhelming from a team who wants to win the league and are currently in the top position. I mean, if you before the match someone told them that they will get a 1 point, they will be very upset. But after the match, they will be quite glad that they were able to get 1 point out of that.
yep, and because of that, now although Atletico are at the top of the table with 67 points, Madrid is just 1 point behind them, and then Barca is just 1 point behind Madrid. But in all of this, Madrid has one big advantage, which is the head-to-head. They have the head-to-head advantage over both Atletico and Barca.
I personally don't think that it will come down to that. It might happen. I'm not thinking I'm completely ruling it out, but I don't think it's going to be the case. I personally think this is one big problem for Madrid right now. They are really out of center backs right now. In the
Yeah,
coming match, Nacho is out. and even Mendy is out. Sorry, Mendy is okay. Sorry, Mendy is there. Vasquez is out. So who will play at the back? Apart from Milicia, there is not a single recognizable centre back there.
True. So
And
it's
and usually in that kind of situations, Casemiro plays a centre back, like we see Fabinho at Liverpool. But even Casemiro is out for that match. So I am really thinking that even it's a like not a it's against Getafe only, so it's not a big deal. It should be a pretty straightforward 2-0 kind of victory. But who will play? And it would be quite a big blow on their hopes if they win against Barca and then go on to lose to Getafe in the next match.
that would be very unfortunate. And I think the injury crisis at Real Madrid has been handled pretty well up to this point. They've had a lot of injuries. Obviously, even the captain Ramos is out,
They
Carval is
have
out.
the most injuries in the entire Europe right now.
Yeah.
They are
So
inching, they are in with the Vasquez injury. They are, I think, only 1 or 2 injuries short of hitting 50 injuries this season.
wow, that is just ridiculous. And I remember seeing a squad, I think a few weeks ago, and I wasn't even able to recognize many of the players because they were all academy players or players who I've heard the name of for the first time. So Real Madrid have an injury crisis, and so far it has been handled extremely well. But who knows now without recognizable centre backs, it's very difficult to get
But
victories. So
one good point for Real right now is that Carvajal is back in full training.
all right, okay.
Okay, so he is back in full training. He is most likely missing the Liverpool match, but I think considering how less players are there, Zidane might rush through his comeback and against Getafe.
Hmm. Yeah. So
But he's definitely not playing against Liverpool, so that's a big concern till now. That who will play right back because he's not able to come at that point.
I think this is a good time to wrap up the podcast. Real Madrid played really well against Barca, and so before we go, do you have any closing notes?
Yeah, I just want to ask you, what do you think who's going to win the league right now? Who are your favorites?
So I actually think that Barca could be the favorites. I'm not saying that Real Madrid or Atletico couldn't win it, but I feel like Barca have a slight edge because one, Atletico, I think they've taken a big hit in terms of morale. They were so far clear of Real Madrid and every other
Almost
team.
10 points in January. 10
Exactly,
points.
exactly, almost 10 points clear, and now they are within 1 point of Madrid and 2 points of Barca. And
And they have yet to play Barca. They have to play Barca and maybe Sevilla also. We have yet to confirm.
So I would say that Madrid have the advantage, but we know that their injury crisis is so bad. And with these really close title races, it just takes 1 or 2 matches where you drop points, not even lose, where you just drop points for the title race to turn on its head. So I think Barca have an advantage at the moment. I wouldn't be surprised to see them win. And unlike you, I actually think this could come down to a head-to-head uh, thing at the end of the
See,
season.
if it comes down to head to head, then Madrid is winning this.
And
No doubt about that.
so if Madrid are out of the picture, it will boil down to what happens in the
On
Atletico
May
v
9th.
Barca match. Yeah, on
The
May
May
9th.
9th. And you have to know one thing also. On May 9th only, Barca is playing Atletico, Real is playing Sevilla.
Wow. So
So
May
that
9th
day
is a big day for the title
May
race.
9th is a big yeah. So for my predictions, I agree with you on Barca point because as you say, injury crisis is quite bad right now. Another big problem is out of these three teams, Real is the only one left in Champions League also.
Yep. So they have a heavier
And that
schedule as well.
midweek games are coming fast and through. So that will is definitely taking a toll right now.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
and considering they were able to outplay Liverpool, and I personally don't see a comeback happening. So in my opinion, they are definitely playing 3 more matches from now on in Champions League, minimum the 2 legs in semi-final. So that 3 matches and the regular La Liga matches might make them stumble a bit here and there.
It is possible. And I think this is one of the best title races that we have this season and in a long time. So let's see what
I
happens.
personally think it's the best title race we had since 2015.
Wow.
When
Okay.
last time we had a proper three-way race, and Real literally blew that one because they were like this year. Real were going way past in February, and they screwed up.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember that. So let's see what happens in the La Liga title race. And it was a great match. It was really fun to watch the El Clasico. I think this one really lived up to the hype.
Yeah, especially the Storm. But I personally think Storm should be in every match from El Clasico right now because that really gives the atmosphere required for a match like that.
Yeah.
You can really see Messi shivering the hell right now. He literally had to change the shirt between the match while his team was down to 10 men because he couldn't take it anymore. He was so cold from the all the water that was drained on the shirt.
Anyway, I think this is now a good place to wrap up the podcast. We'll see you next time on the Flying Fullbacks. Thank you for watching.